In this assignment, the goal is to use text as an object and use letters and shapes combined to create a new object. So the tools you're going to use are the selection tool over here, the type tool, and all of the different shape tools located under the rectangle tool. So the first thing you want to do is make sure to turn it on rulers, and that's going to be under view. So you would click the view drop down, go down to rulers, and if your rulers aren't showing, you would click show rulers. If they are on, then good, you can leave it at that. And it's helpful to use the rulers to create guidelines and to lay out the spacing on your artboard. So to create a art guide, or a guideline, you can click in the ruler area and drag down with your mouse. So I just clicked up in the ruler and drag a guideline here. So here's my guide. It is editable, it is movable, so if I want to change it at any time, that's possible. So I'm going to use the rulers on the left to create a 1/2 inch to 1 inch guide, and you can just read the numbers that are listed for the placement of your guide. I'm going to do the same thing from the left. You're going to click and drag in the ruler area and create a 1 inch margin. So what it's doing is kind of pulling the guide to the text that's there. If your artboard is blank, then it will not be affected by anything on the board. So you're going to do the guidelines that are spelled out in the assignment tutorial, the project sheet that's posted in Google Classroom. Make sure to follow those guides. And then go ahead and type out a word. So you're going to type out the word pearl, as it is here. And when you first type it out, we're going to have a text box. So you're using the type tool. You can click and drag to create a text box and then type out your word. The font you're going to use needs to be bold, either Arial black or impact. So in the characters panel, you can scroll, you can change that. I'm going to make sure that it's on impact. Now notice how when I changed the text, it disappeared. It's still there, don't worry. It's just larger than the text box that I created. So I have to click and drag with the arrows to increase the size of the text box. Okay, so we're going to convert the text from a text box to an object by creating outlines. And that just means that the text will no longer be editable with the type tool. So I'm going to go up to, with the text selected, I'm going to type, create outlines, and then when I've done that, it's no longer text. The program reads it as an object or similar to a shape. So we're going to ungroup, object ungroup the objects so that you can select each letter individually. So notice how when I click on it, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that there are all of these anchor points versus a letter of text. Okay. Next, you're going to use the shapes. So open your all of the shapes in view by clicking on the rectangle tool and then releasing your mouse over the arrow. So now I can see all of the shapes available for use. And I've chosen a couple of different shapes. It doesn't matter which shape you use as long as it looks different than the original inner part of the cutout. So we're going to replace all of the letters that have an inner part with a different shape. So the letter O, for example, the inner part of the O is still grouped. So we're going to ungroup that. Make sure that you can, oh, it is ungrouped already. So we're going to, as these objects they're recognized as an object, we're going to release the inner part by going to Object, Compound Path, Release. Notice when I did that, the inner part became a separate shape. And so now we're going to replace that inner part with a new shape to make a custom object. So I'm going to delete the inner part. I'm going to do the same thing on the E. So we're going to Object, Compound Path, Release. Okay, so now we have this area inside the object to replace, and we're going to use a star. So notice the finished example up at the top. I'm going to point and click on the artboard to give a custom star, so you can tell the program how many points on the star you want. If you wanted to do a triangle, since there are no preset triangle shapes, you could do 3 points and that would give you a triangle using the star tool. Okay, next I'm going to change the color of this just so that I can see it when I replace the inner part of each letter. And you can choose any color that you'd like for your design and then place it in a logical position, kind of similar to where the original was. All right, now let's see. You're going to have to adjust the size of the shape. If it's a little too large, you can make those adjustments as needed. And create something that that is original, that looks pleasing to your eye. Use your design eye. And then the last step, and just taking this to the next level, is to punch out that inner shape. So we separated the letters from the inner shape, and now I'm going to combine these two. Now that this is has a different look, if I select them both by rubber band selecting, then I can go to my Pathfinder panel over here. And if that's not showing in the panels window, you can always open that by using the window drop down. And I'm going to try the exclude Pathfinder shape. Once I select that, notice how now these two objects are one, and we've got a new custom shape. Okay, so go ahead and try that with your 2 words and make sure to save it as a PDF and submit in Google Classroom.